So I'm Randy Park. Janine and I have been together for 37 years. We have 3 children. Each of them are out of the home now. They've all been through college.
Empty nesters, yep, for quite a while. So we became interested in emergency preparedness pretty much from the time we were first married. Randy and I both come from grandparents who lived through the Depression, parents born in the Depression, and I listened to my grandmother tell me how they ate potatoes 3 times a day. And so our parents both always stored food, and so anyway, we just started storing food. And when we first got married and when we moved to this house 33 years ago, we attended a conference on emergency preparedness, and we got our first 72-hour kit. And from there, over the next 33 years, we've just kind of evolved in our level of preparation.
And also, as you probably know, when you have children, you start to think about what's best for them. I travel a lot. I remember in one of my traveling mornings, it was a really cold morning in Minnesota, where they do know how to do cold, right? And one of the little kids came running up to the bus stop without a coat. And it made me think about, okay, in an emergency, what do my children have?
I just remember my grandmother, my dad's mother, just talking about eating potatoes 3 times a day, and it's more of what I watched my grandparents do. They always had a garden. They always had food in the basement, food storage, and they saved everything. It was use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. It was just a different type of lifestyle, and that's what I watched growing up. So Randy had the same thing.
Yeah, my dad always had at least 2 years of storage in, somewhere in the house. And of course, I was raised on a small farm, so we always had a beef, and we had pigs, and we had chickens, and we milked cows. So we always had kind of a built-in food storage. And then when we moved here, we obviously had to figure out how to be prepared without a small farm.
We are not the best either. We have a very small yard, and like we said, we've been married a long time, and we've just added over the years. We have a small garden, but we have tried to follow, what we watched. But our grandparents had storage, and our parents both, so it's more what we watched growing up.
Well, the other thing is my father lost his job and was out of work for over 2 years, and we used our food storage. And the one thing that I realized as a child is that we weren't used to the wheat, we weren't used to the rice, so one of the things that Janine and I do is we actually do implement our food storage into our regular diet.
Yeah, we have a hand grinder, which we hope to not have to use, but I have an electric grinder. We know how to use our grains, and we also know what to do with those dry beans that everybody stores. We know how to cook them and prepare them, so it's more what we watched growing up. What I would want my children to do, most important, 2 or 3 things to prepare for an emergency, if they didn't do anything else, would be, and I've been trying to get them to do this, is to have about a 3-month supply of food. I think we all learned with the pandemic. In my lifetime, I had never seen anything like what I saw in the grocery stores. So I just would like them to at least have a 3-month supply of food, so that they felt peace of mind. And the other thing would be some sort of a bug out kit or a 72-hour kit, so that if you did have to leave your home, and I think with seeing Hurricane Ida right now and all the things that we have seen, people need to be able to take care of themselves. And having worked in a Sandy City community coordinator position, I've listened to the Sandy City representatives talk about emergencies, and they just don't have the resources to get out and help people. So you need to be able to help yourself. So if you have a 72-hour kit or some sort of kit, if you had to leave your home, you'd at least have something. Yeah, that's probably the two most important things. I would like to just say on that line of an emergency kit, our daughter at the age of 24 moved to South Chicago to do a residency at the University of Chicago Medicine. So she was back there by herself, a young girl. And I put together just a small little kit of some granola bars and some pork and beans and some of the water in the Mylar bags for her to have in case there was some sort of emergency. And she told me that did give her peace of mind. So hopefully everyone can learn from that. As parents and grandparents, we have done a few things to help our married children with their families be prepared for Christmases. We have given food storage. All of our children living at home had 72-hour kits, and when they got married, we sent their kit along with them.
We also built kits for their spouses.
Yes, we did. We prepared kits for their spouses, and all of them, when they went to college, also had their 72-hour kit at college with them. So, but you know, at some point, they have to take it and lead themselves. And so hopefully through, you know, watching us and growing up with that they can do that too. And the other thing is, it is expensive to do a lot. So just do one thing at a time. Don't let it overwhelm you. Like I said, we've been married 37 years. We have always done something. We've just added a little bit every year, and so we hope that our children will grab onto that as well. And like I said, start with the 3-month supply.
Right, and treat it like the groceries. Every time you go grocery shopping, grab something extra. And then, you know, there's a case slot sale. Janine is quick to let everybody know, communicate. There's a case lot sale at this certain grocer, and often we will hear back from them that, yes, I picked up an extra case or 2 cases, or, you know, what should I get, you know? And then, of course, then we can chime in because we know they're interested. It was a very peculiar event that happened last February, March, where we were on vacation, and we hear about this plague that's hitting, and the grocery stores are emptying. And when we come back from our vacation, the grocery stores are empty. And we had been preparing, and yet we weren't prepared enough. That was the pandemic was something we really didn't prepare for. Yes, we had a few masks around. Yes, we had an extra case of toilet paper. But at our age, you're not just preparing for Janine and me. We're now preparing for 3 other families with grandchildren. So that really, in addition to where we were, we definitely turned it up a notch from there.
Randy and I have practiced using some of the equipment that we have. For example, we have a solar oven, and we have practiced trying to cook in our solar oven. We need to practice a lot more. We have a rocket stove, and those are great because you can actually make your own. But you can use one briquette, or you can just use a pine cone or pine needles to cook on that oven. So we have practiced some of our things. We have practiced starting fires, not bad fires, just out in our backyard. That we aren't out starting cooking fires. And we have prepared some different ways to help those fires start. So for example, we have taken candles and melted them down and dipped cotton into the wax, and that's our little fire starter to help us. So we have different things that we've done, but we have a long way to go. We are not perfect, and we are not the most prepared people. This has been a 37-year project, and over the last year we ramped it up quite a bit.
Well, and we have family parties, and at one of the family parties, I asked each of my children to come start a fire. And I was surprised at how well some of them did, and I was surprised at how well some of them didn't do. But each of them now have started a fire without a match in the last year. They've seen it. They've seen the importance of steel in the flint and steel, because you always spark off the flint, but the steel is what makes it jump, right? So I mean, there's some things that you forget, right, or you don't think about. But practice, or at least trying to do it, brings it all back very quickly. It's like riding a bicycle.
Another thing, I would like to say another thing along the lines of practice as well, something that I actually learned through the state of Utah preparedness seminar that I went to on sanitation kits. You know, we just don't know what's coming at us with an emergency. It's hard to prepare for everything, we just don't know. But one of the things that I did learn, and it is something you have to kind of have an idea that you've seen it done, and is preparing for if your sewer goes down. Because number one, the disaster is the biggest killer. The second biggest killer is the sanitation. So there's just so many things to think about and to prepare for, and you just have to start at somewhere. We've had 37 years to think about this and to work on it, and we were not prepared like we are today 37 years ago, and we have a long way to go. As far as emergency plans that we have in place for if, you know, something were to happen and we could not contact our family here in Utah, this is something we need to really work on. We have talked to a cousin in California that said she would be our contact person, so all of our children could contact her if we could not contact them here, and they were able to get contact with her, and we also, you know, were able to contact her, and we would know everyone was safe. But that is not something that we are super prepared for right now, and that is an area that we need to work on. When our children were small, we had done the whole thing of, you know, if something happens, just get out of the house and meet at the mailbox and all of that. It changes when your children get older, because we are empty nesters and have been for quite a while, and for a time we had 2 children living in Chicago. And so, but that is something we need to work on. And
one thing we have done is to have multiple forms of communication in addition to your cell phone. There's email, but in addition to that, there are other methods to communicate that I have set up between me and each of the children's families. So just a small way to communicate should something happen, so that we can make a plan.
yeah.
So just maybe some tips and tricks that we found along the way. You can always go and get these little food items that are going to expire in 90 days or 180 days. Maybe look a little harder for food items that are going to last. I was surprised to find various university studies on food items that literally last 27 to 30 years, so that you're not having to replace every single 90 to 180 days. That makes the task so overwhelming. Whereas if you get, you know, an oatmeal packet, that's going to last for 27 years. And it's proven, you know, you might lose a percentage or two of, you know, the nutrition value. Thank you. But at the end of the day, I'll take 98% of the nutrition value.
I can't tell you how much I started hating rotating my 72-hour kits when I had 5 people living here. So we started doing the Coast Guard emergency bars in our 72-hour kits because I didn't want to have to redo my food every 6 months or even once a year. It's overwhelming. So don't get overwhelmed. Learn that little tidbit from us. You can buy the Mylar water pouches that I believe for the Coast Guard that I believe last 5 years. And so those would be a tip for at least the 72-hour kit. And look for things that store long term. There are things when you're starting your food storage that will last 30 years and beyond even. A tip that I would give if I were just starting 37 years ago as a newlywed and was thinking about, okay, we're married, we know that emergency preparedness is important, where can I start? Probably it would be with a 72-hour kit. Maybe ask that for Christmas from your parents. And then just on your own, just start slowly with store things that you eat and eat what you store. And that would be, like if there's a case lot sale, and this is a great time of year for case lot sales. So if you're just thinking about getting going, go buy 10 cans of chili. Chili is a great thing to store, great protein source. It will store well in a cool, dark, dry place. Just, if you're just starting, just go ahead and, start slow. You don't have to get overwhelmed. It can be expensive. So if it takes you 20 years, it's taken us 37 to get where we're at. And fortunately, we've never had a major, major, major disaster where we only depended on what we totally did have in our home. We've been fortunate that way. But you can build toward that. But use your resources. Use your Be Ready Utah. They have lists of what to put in your 72-hour kits. You can go online and look up bug out kits. Do it the way you want it, and just start slow. Just add something every month. Use your Christmases, but use your resources. Utah has great resources. Utah is a great place. They're very prepared.
I would add only that you don't need to wait until a major event such as marriage. Each person should be, looking to how they can be prepared for themselves, right?
Yes, absolutely. I didn't mean just if you're getting married. I was just using that as an example of where we started.
Right.
So, yes. I would like to just, as a final thought, say that I am grateful that to be able to work toward being prepared for something, because the thing that I do know as people, that even if you don't have everything, your neighbor or someone, your family member, somebody will. And I know that in a major emergency, we will all come together and help each other. And so if somebody has a lot of things and you have some things, but maybe not everything, somebody will help you. I know communities are going to come together.
And I would just add there's a camaraderie in the preparation group. You'll find friends, you'll find people who are interesting, peculiar maybe, but it can be fun if you kind of put yourself into it. And I would just add to what Janine said, which is you may not have everything, but if you have something, then there's exchanges and people will be looking for help in a number of ways, and you might just have a skill or some other thing that person needs. And when the chips are down, humanity will be looking out for each other.